Welcome to EVH Gear Discussion, the weekly EVH talk show officially recognized by the Van Halen News Desk and sponsored by VanHalenStore.com. From Ontario, Canada, my name is Eric Broadbent, your host of this episode, and tonight's going to be a product demonstration episode. It's going to be a 1 hour broadcast at the very longest. I'm going to be showing you a good look at the PedalSnake. Been talking about PedalSnake for the longest time. Now, don't judge this one here. This one's been with me for a decade plus. This one's not as pretty as a brand new one. But I'm going to be going over the whole PedalSnake with everyone and telling you how to hook it up, why you want it, what it is, and the benefits of it as well. So I'm going to jump over to the chat real quickly and just recognize everyone that's joining in. And by the way, too, if you like this Flying Eddie t-shirt I'm wearing, you can pick this one up at the VanHalenStore.com from our sponsor. And the link is in the description below. Check it out. I think it's on sale for around $20. So check it out. So over in the chat, we've already had a few people waiting there as well. We've got Wyatt Hunt. How you doing, Wyatt? Very own Poison Ivy Grows here is here. Nice to see you. And it looks like some sad news. Quentin James says, just saw that Jay Giles died. That's a bummer. I did not know that. There's been so much stuff in the news about the airlines and things like that. I didn't see that. Spence says, I actually got the live notification this time. Yeah, I'm not sure why it does that sometimes, and other times it doesn't. Very strange. Phoenix River says, howdy. Adam is joining us, saying hello, everyone. And all right on. Quentin James says, by the way, Sylvester says hi. Sylvester is Quentin's bird, little budgie, very similar to what we have here with our little sunshine bird. It's actually Poison Ivy's bird, kind of the family's bird. And Quentin shared a really nice video on YouTube the other day where Sylvester was watching the show. Who did I have on the show that night? It was Eric Sands from Positive Grid. It was very, very cool. And Sylvester was communicating with the computer screen and was chirping away. It was quite cool. I really enjoyed that. Let me see here. So I can't necessarily pronounce this. SCSOCFCE says, hello, Eric. Eric here, first time tuning in. He's saying Eric here. That's cool. Spot with a K. White Hunt says, hi, everyone. Darren Moore. Hey there, everyone. Been waiting all day for this. Good. It's very nice to hear that because I know a lot of people are excited about this PedalSnake. I've been talking about it forever. And there's been a lot of people asking me, several people asking the same question, other people asking different questions. But I figured instead of sending out a tweet here or a Facebook post here or there, why not try to do a bit of a kind of a full breakdown in one spot? I can direct everybody to this video. And I will be doing a lot more professional videos like I've done with the recent one that's up there, talking about the PedalSnake Idea Bench, Fastback GT, and the Strymon power supply. But this is a raw, you take it for whatever it is here. It's going to be flying by the seat of my pants doing a demo on this one. And even Jody Page says to me earlier today, you sure you want to do this live? But I'm making it very, very simple. And I did do a test, so I should be okay, knock on wood. But I'm going to be doing it very, very basic and showing you how simply from the smallest level, the PedalSnake can really benefit you. So we're going to be getting into that in a moment as well. So I know that a lot of people are excited about it. And Spencer says, sexy pedal board back there. Yes, referring to the Idea Bench Fastback GT, which is completely done. That's actually standing up. It's got its hood open like a hood of a car, and they're all standing on there. They're not going to fall off. Very, very nice board. I'm very happy with that. So thank you on that one. Trip Machine, that's Gustavo Gonzalez down from Florida. Very good buddy. He says, hey, Eric, nice to see you again. It's very nice to see you as well, Gustavo. Mark Taylor's joining us. Quentin James, and Adam says his parrot won't shut up. Poison Ivy thinks that's funny. Bag Cereals is joining us, saying hello. Saying hi, guys. Spencer says, you need to play more in your vids, Eric. Yes, for sure. There's going to be a lot more of that coming up. I promise you that. Howie, I think that, okay, and I think, is that Howie from my buddy, my kind of neighbor, Howie? If that's you, we were talking earlier, fantastic. He says, vid in chat finally came up. Good. Brent Rock says, what's up? And Adam, very cool. So I'm going to flag that there so I know where I left off. I'm going to try to at least. So one of the most recent videos I've been sharing on all of the social media is working with great people. Rick and Joanna at Idea Bench. They're the manufacturers of the Fastback GT back there. That's the biggest pedal board that they make. Working with Jody Page, obviously, at PedalSnake. Hence the reason why I'm doing this broadcast this evening. And with the team at Strymon. And I'm finally learning how to pronounce some of these words correctly. And, I hate to pronounce brands wrong. I was calling them Strymon. I was also mentioning the power supply was called the OJ, which looks like OJ, OJAI. It's actually pronounced Ojai. So I'm learning the terminology. But PedalSnake, I go back at least a decade. I wish I would actually know the exact time I started with them. I want to say 12 years or more. So PedalSnake and I are not new to each other. Jody and I are good friends. I can very safely say that we're good friends today because of working together for a very, very long time. And Jody has treated me he's treated me like a pro. And had it not been for Jody, I would not be working with Idea Bench. I would not be working with Strymon. And what's very cool about this whole project is the only other artist right now, like I know this is in its infancy, we're working with this new thing called Ultimate Pedal Management. And that's with these 3 companies together making the ultimate pedal management solution. That's the pedal board, the Snake, which is the brains of the whole unit, and then the power of the unit from Strymon. Working with Jake Morelli, that's the only other artist that's currently doing this big promotion like we're doing. And Jake is known for he's guitarist for Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars. I mean, he's countless TV, ABC, NBC, all that kind of stuff, movie scores. Absolutely amazing. So it's very, very humbling and very surreal for me to even realize the fact that I'm going to do some promotion with him as well too. This one was the very first rig in existence, as Jody says. He says it's the first one on planet Earth, out and about with 24-volt power system going to it and all the goodies. So that's the story for another video. I'm going to leave it here so you can see it because obviously it's nice thing to admire. But tonight we're going to keep it simple. Going to keep it real. We're going to talk about PedalSnake and how it can benefit you. And in some cases, people don't even know what it is. All right, so and that's good to know that Howie is my Howie nearby here. So very, very cool. All right, so some people don't know what the PedalSnake is, and some people don't know what it does. So here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a description. I made some cheat sheet notes just so I can have it readily available, because a lot of times I'll end the broadcast and then I'll say, oh, you know what? I totally forgot to say this about the product and whatnot. And then you have to put it in the description of the video and all those things. I'd rather try to communicate it to you as best as possible. So what is PedalSnake? PedalSnake replaces all the cables between a guitar player's amp and effects pedals, making for a much faster setup, less noise, crystal clear tone, and an ultra clean appearance on stage, all made possible by the simple low impedance output of the standard effects pedal. This is a new discovery, a new approach, and a better way. In other words, simplify your rig. PedalSnake is the most versatile all-in-one stomp box cable for the cleanest stage, lightning fast setup, noiseless operation, and remarkably clear tone. Easily customizable to any rig. Now here's the cool thing that is very, very true, and I know Gustavo Gonzalez is from Trip Machine is in here. He just ordered one very similar to the custom Snake I just received for this board back here, and it is customizable. That's a nice thing. Down the road you change amps, change heads, maybe add a second head to like a whole rig to the mix. The PedalSnake grows with you. You're not adding more cords, you're just adding a different routing, or what they call like some of the power lines, or the P lines on the power lines, and pigtails on the end as well too. So this is like a standard Snake, and you're going to see these various things on the end that look like, they call them pigtails. All right, and I'm going to show you exactly what this one is here that I'm using, but it grows with you. And honestly, when I mentioned a couple of the bullet points there about ease of setup and speed, back when I was playing professionally with my band was pretty much always one of the bands was on, like very seldomly were we the headliner. We were always like the opening act for a lot of, 80s metal bands or 80s rock bands, like your Quiet Riots and your Great Whites and all those, those bands of yesterday, which was fun. But the thing is, you got like 15 minutes to set up, and a lot of you musicians will know that's like, you get a sound check, and whether you're ready to go or not, you're going. And it's a very stressful situation. Back in that day, I was using multiple PV5150 amplifiers. I was using a PV5150 combo for the clean. I was using a 5150 head and a 412, a couple 412s for the dirty amps. And I would A/B between them. There's all these different routings and all these different things I had to do, and pedals here and pedals there, power cables coming up to the pedal board with wall warts all over the place. And it really, if you had an hour to set up, whatever, if you're the only band on the bill, whatever, you can take your time and luxuriate all you want. But when you're the opening band and you got like, tour managers and road managers and, national recording acts, people breathing down your necks and get going, you need something to help you out. The PedalSnake is exactly that. Basically, that old pedal board that you saw of mine, that box, that thing I made, whatever, I would have the matching ends to the PedalSnake on there. All I would do is run my PedalSnake to the amplifier, plug them back in at the pedal board, and I'm good to go. All your voltage, everything is at the back line. Everything is behind your amplifier or wherever you store it at the back. Nothing is on your power board. There's no power, there's no interference, there's nothing like that. So tonight's example, I'm going to make this as bare bones can be. I have it's not even a pedal board over here, you can barely see them, but I have a Boss DD3 pedal, and I have my old trusty, which I haven't used now in some time, the BBE Sonic Stomp. Now what I'm going to do, essentially what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be breaking a couple rules as I do this too, and I'll tell you what rules that I'm breaking. Know the rules and then break them, okay? So the DD3 is going to go to the loop of the Lunchbox 2 back there with the green light on. We're going to stay on the clean channel of the Lunchbox 2. She's on standby right now. And the BBE Sonic Stop, I'm just using that basically as a pass-through to go to the front of the input. So I'm going to plug a guitar directly into the Sonic Stop, and then I'm going to connect all of this with the Snake. So technically, right now, back there sitting plugged into the wall, I have one of these. This is called Snake Power, okay? That is a 9-volt DC, 500 milliamp. It is a 500 milliamp power source. A lot of your typical power sources, like your Bosses, like your typical ones you get with a Boss pedal, or a lot of your pedals are around a 350 milliamp. I'm not an engineer. I'm not one of these techie guys, so that may vary, but I know most of the ones I've had were around 350 milliamps. So with a 350 milliamp, you've got a couple pedals you can power with that safely without drawing too much draw. The pedals, each pedal's going to have a different draw of its current. So you can't have too many on at the time. With 500, obviously you got a little bit more headroom. So I have a couple of these, thanks to Jody. One is plugged in at the back right now, and you notice it's got the receptacle right there. There's no cord on it. Put it closer. There's no cord on it. So that's going to be the power. And essentially in this case, it's going to power both pedals, or this could be 10 pedals, whatever, to the front and to the loop. And I'm going to tell you some other ways in a moment how you can better that and get even better yet. But this is going to be the basic, and we'll go to the next level. So here's what we have. On the PedalSnake, this is about a 25-foot cable, very, very soft rubber. I don't know the type of rubber, but it's very soft. It doesn't knot up. I really love it. It's got like kind of a sheath on each end. One will say pedal end, and it's worn off now because, like I said, this has been with me for over a decade. Easily. And then at the other amp, it says amp end. And then on the amp end, it has a little Velcro strip, which is nice. And mine's slipping off a little bit because it's had serious wear. And generally what I do is I take that Velcro strip and I just wrap it through the side handle of one of my amps. Like in this case, maybe through the 100 watt, the 5153 100 watt back there. I'll wrap it through the handle on the side just so it suspends and I'm not putting any serious tension on any of my cords, my leads. Now, technically what I used to do with this snake, this was the snake I used on the road all across Canada into the States. I have a send and return. So that does my send and return for my effects loop. I had, and I still technically have, 2 voltage lines. I have a 9-volt voltage line, which was powered by one of these. And then I also have an 18-volt line that was powered by, at the time, the MXR a power adapter that would go for the EVH flanger. That's the only pedal I have on my board to this day that is an 18-volt. Now, some other pedals you can run at 18-volt as well. So there you go. I've already got send and return, 2 power lines. I also have a guitar line which runs to my amplifier, and I had an extra one which was, so that's going to be the output of the pedals, and I had an extra line that I used to use for my wireless guitar when I used to use wireless. I would use that occasionally here and there. It wasn't a permanent thing. So you can see already one cable now does everything. Nothing is going, there's no power on the board, there's no like physical wall warts or anything like that. Everything comes out. So the only thing you have to do, the only other guitar cable you need is your guitar. You plug a cable into your guitar and you plug it to your first pedal on the board. That's where some people were maybe confused with some of the illustrations of PedalSnake. They're not sure. They see a cable going on one side and sometimes the same thing coming out the other side or whatever. It's basically guitar like you normally would, plug it into your first pedal. The PedalSnake will go back to the amplifier and carries everything back there. Send, return, input, the whole works. The one I have now is even more advanced, and I'll tell you exactly how that works in a moment. So what we're going to do momentarily here, I'm going to very carefully try to get up. I'm going to try to power everything up over there, and I'm going to plug in a guitar. I'm just going to show you how simple it is. So like I said, the amp's on standby. I'll jump over real quick and just check see if there's any questions that need addressing before I do that, and we'll see what we have there. Adam is saying a nice layout and board setup. That is Howie. He says in the hizzle. And let me see. Quentin James says 1 thumbs down already. I just don't get it. That's totally okay. It's just people that thumbs down, their mothers don't love them. I say that all the time. They just had mothers that didn't love them. It's okay. And Howie says, my board does need some organizing. I'm listening for sure. And I'm telling you, the PedalSnake will be your first benefit. And then if you want to get into the idea benches, they make smaller ones than this. You don't necessarily need one this big. They make some real small ones that can be attached and you can actually make them grow later, almost like building. Remember the old days of racetracks when we were kids? Those Tyco racetracks, you put those little adapters in to make your curves go all the way around and you keep building the tracks however you wanted them. It's kind of like that with an adapter that comes with that. It's a bracket that mounts and you can join several of them together. You could actually build a full circle of pedals and stand in the middle if you wanted to. So you can grow with it, which is nice. PedalSnake lets you do that as well too. You grow with the product. You don't have to change the way you do things, neither with IdeaBench. You grow with the product, or it grows with you, I should say. Let me see. So Howie needs some work on his board. And Spencer says, any new details on the Wolfgang giveaway? It's going to be as soon as there's going to be a random draw starting when I reach 3,000 subscribers. Getting pretty darn close, 2,700 and some change. So tell all your friends to start subscribing. If you want the contest to happen faster, tell your friends to subscribe. Or if you got multiple other accounts, subscribe with multiple other accounts. I don't care how you get there. Just get me to 3,000 and we'll put that number in the rearview mirror and get on past it. But it's going to be around then. It's probably going to be one of the standard color ones. I might go as far as getting a nice transparent purple or blue one. We'll see, but it's going to be a Wolfgang standard for sure. And I'm going to see if I can get that hopped up with Futone as well. So it's going to be really, really cool. Let me see here. So Adam says, nice wrap job, nicely wound. And Sinner is joining us saying, what's up, all? I'm glad to see you here, Sinner. I'm anxious to show you some of this product. Adam says, hey, Sinner. So Howie says, would it facilitate my routing of most pedals into my input, my volume, and my time-based effects in the loop? Yes, and I will work with you closely, Howie, to help you with any questions that you may have. And I'm telling you, the only person that knows it better than me is Jody Page himself, and he is a great guy to go to. Pre-sales, just like, I always talk about Adam Reaver on the show. Adam Reaver is great when it comes to pre-sales. Jody is like that as well, too. He'll answer any of your questions, and he'll give you a rig questionnaire. Just when you think you know your rig, just like when I thought I knew my rig, Jody's like, no, it's you can't do that. You got to do this, whatever. You'll learn more about your rig by talking to Jody than you ever knew about it. It's pretty cool. But I will help you as well too. So Sinner says, I have 2 pedals. I would I use 2 pedals. I would put 2 pedals on that board and the rest would hold my beers. Well, there you go. Never know. And we could probably work in a little power adapter to have a little chiller thing, keep like a beer koozie that keeps it cool. That might work as well too. I'll talk to the team and see what we can work out for you. Let me see here. 18 pedals. I need the big one. Okay, so Howie's got he's got a lot of pedals, and I know he's got some nice Keeley effects and some things like that. And so you're going to need the big one. You're going to need one like this, and you can also get it in multiple colors. Okay, so we have no more questions for the moment. 21 people watching right now, 9 people thumbs up. I really appreciate that. So let's give this a try. This is live TV. This should go good. If it doesn't, then you saw a complete cluster bleep here first. So let's give this a try, all right? So I'm going to take the pedal end. I'm going to be putting it here. Amp end back there. I'm going to quickly Velcro it onto the side just so I'm not putting any severe strain on the leads here. And what I think I'm going to do as well too, I'm just going to plug in a guitar lead into the pedal here too, so I'm not going to have any pops. I think that's, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that first. I'm going to hook up the pedal end here first, so you're going to see me do that. Okay, so let's do that right now. What color do I have here? And the color code is always nice. Amp is red, pedal is blue. So in tonight's example, bare bones basic, I'm going to be using a send and return. That's going to be going to the Boss DD3. Okay, so let's do that first. Okay. Just for myself, this is kind of a thing I do. Maybe it's OCD, whatever. I always use red for return. I always remember, okay, which one was send, which one was return. R for return. It's just a thing I do. If that's of help to you, bonus. Red R for return. Not right or left, nothing like that. Okay, we're not doing a stereo situation. So this is going to go to my output of my Boss DD3. And that's going to go to the input of the DD3. Okay, now I need to take, where is it here? The red line here again. This is going to be the output, which goes to the input of the amplifier. This is going to be coming out of the BBE Sonic Stomp. So this is basically my guitar is going to go to the BBE. This is going to carry it back to the amplifier. And here again, I just like to use red. I know it's a return of some sort, so I know which color it is and which lead it is. You can label them as well as, but you don't have to do that once it's hooked up to the board. Once it's hooked up to the board, it's a permanent situation. So this is going to the output of the BBE. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to hook up voltage to the line. Now, I'm cheating here right now, and by cheating, I shouldn't say the word cheating because I'm not cheating. What I'm doing is I'm using one 9-volt power line, and I'm daisy chaining here, okay? And I'm going to use it for, the voltage is going to be supplied from one of these again, the Snake Power. I'm powering 2 pedals with 1. Now, that's not a problem, 2, 3, 5, 10, not a problem there, depending if you're using them all at one time. You got to do the math and figure out which one's drawing the most current. I'm going to tell you another better way to make this better later on, because right now voltage is going to the loop and it's also going to the front of the input, and there's some advantages and disadvantages of that, and I'll tell you about both of those after. But for now, we're going to hook this up to the daisy chain, okay? So essentially, on the pedal end now, the snake is connected. This is, like I say, it's as basic can be. We've only got 2 pedals here. So I'm going to run the snake back. Carefully, I don't knock over my guitar, and we'll hook it up to the amplifier. We're almost done. Just a regular guitar cable. I shouldn't say regular, Planet Waves. You can't get any better than this. A regular guitar. All right, so I didn't have a disaster on my hands. So right now I'm plugged in, everything is powered up. So obviously you know I've got power to my pedals because you can hear sound, okay? Got sound. So watch this, now I'm in the effects loop. I'm gonna engage the DD3, watch this. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll do both. I'll pop on the, let's pop on the BBE Sonic Stomp first. Let's put a little bit of microphone on the cabinet too. Roll my vocal mic back for a sec. So as you can hear, I have voltage now running to the DD3, which is in the loop. I have voltage running to the BBE Sonic Stomp, which is to the front. And I've got pretty darn crystal clean sound. You hear that? There's barely any hiss. There's nothing there at all. All right, so that's all I'm going to do for the performance. What you're seeing there now is a one cable solution. Power, send and return, direct to the amplifier, the whole works. Now, with that extra line that I have now on this one, I could actually use that for channel switching, which is a perfect one. All I need is a 1/4 inch line on the end of the PedalSnake back there, and one here. I could actually control the foot switch for the 5150 lunchbox. There's so many different variations. Now, when I talked a moment ago about using better voltage, okay, so a perfect example, when we talked about using the Snake Power, that's about a $25 product. It's very, very affordable. What I started doing just before I went with the Idea Bench Fastback here, I had Jody send me another one of these, and here's where you can go without a huge jump up in price, use 2 of these. So now I suggested to Jody, I said, I want to get the noise level as low as possible. And it was my idea and my thoughts, I should say, to run one power source. So one Snake Power running all my pedals in the loop. A second one running all the pedals going to the front of the amplifier. That way the voltage is isolated. You're not sharing between front and back of the amplifier, and it's made a world of difference. So it's very, very simple. It couldn't be any simpler. And the fact that what it saves you in stress at setup and teardown is just as important as, maybe not as important as setup. It is if you're opening for a big band and you got to get off the stage. It's a peace of mind. And people thought I was joking when I say this. I say this a lot on the show, that the PedalSnake, once I started using it, was as important to me as my guitar. It was as important to me as my guitar. And if there's a couple gigs where I went to places where I didn't have the snake with me and I had to do it the old-fashioned way, and I was literally in panic mode after you get used, like spoiled basically, for using it. And it is going to be that important. And it got to the point where I had two of them. So if I forgot one, there's always one. I always carried an extra in another case. So if I forgot the case at home, I've got an extra PedalSnake. Now, the one that you saw with me there, I mean, it's beat to heck. It's been with me for 12 years. I don't think I've replaced one line on it since I've had it. And Jody has been phenomenal in support. A couple other notes I made actually on my list of things to discuss about it. Okay, so here's a little bit more of the benefits of it. First of all, it's patented technology, only available from PedalSnake.com. The benefits is it cleans up clutter, set up faster, lighten your pedal board with no wall warts. You figure you have 2 or 3 wall warts on your board. There's a couple pounds there as well. More complex rigs become easy. All-in-one MIDI and power too. Low voltage cable, easy to handle, safer, and affordable. Actually some of the accolades as well too. I mean, it was voted best accessory by Guitar Player magazine. I mean, the pros are listing when it comes to this thing. You have to take a look at PedalSnake.com and just see what they have available. Power supplies, extra leads. They like obviously the power supplies like I talk about. All kinds of different accessories that can just custom the daisy chain cables. So many different things. And like I say, if you change your rig down the road, you change possibly one of the ends of the snake, and then you're off to the races. I'll kind of give you a little bit of an example of what I'm doing now with the new one. Now this is part of this new ultimate pedal management system with Idea Bench, PedalSnake, and Strymon. What I'm doing here, this one's a little bit more complex. This one's a custom snake, and you can buy custom snakes from PedalSnake. Now there's no, all sales are final when it comes to the custom ones because they're custom making it for you, and that's why you're going to go through a big procedure. I shouldn't say that. It's not a big procedure, but you're going through a lot of questions with Jody to make sure that you have everything right. And he's going to basically have you sign off on it at the end, saying, yes, this is exactly right. It's almost like when you do an advertisement in a newspaper or television or, that kind of magazine, you got to proof it. You got to make sure once you sign off on that, or even getting business cards, you proof it. Once you've proofed it, well, it's up to you whether you made a mistake or not. But he's very good that way. He's going to walk you through it. So I've got now with the new rig, I've got, this is what's really cool. Now, this is very, very cool. I still recommend these for your starters. For people that don't want to go too extreme, the Snake Power, $24, $25. But you can't see it inside there right now, but I mentioned I'm using the Strymon OJ. No, I said it wrong. Ojai. It looks like OJ. And there's that version, and they also make the Zuma. The Zuma is a bigger unit. It has probably, I'm just going to guess here, about 8 to 10 outputs. The Ojai has, I think, 5. Now, they're all 9-volt outputs, but what you can also do is you can double there's adapters you can get that will double 2 outputs. Obviously, 9 plus 9 is 18, so there's your 18-volt. In this case, for my power-hungry EVH flanger, you can maybe see it hiding back there, a little white stripy deal, white and black. And that leaves me with 3 other lines I can run out. So I'm running one line to all my loop pedals. I'm running a second voltage line, which is isolated. Don't forget, isolated and regulated to all my front input. So everything is isolated. It's 124-volt power supply at the back in your back line, setting a 24-volt system, isolated and regulated through the snake to the board. Whisper quiet. Jody's goal this year, you can see my Boss noise suppressor right there, the NS2. I know the folks at Boss won't be happy to hear this about me possibly getting rid of Boss pedal. I love Boss pedals. I'm not going to get rid of all of them. I just may be getting rid of that one because it's Jody's goal to see me get rid of the NS2. We're getting the rig quieter and quieter and quieter, and it's almost to the point like that NS2 is one of my security blankets. It's one of those things where, I don't know what to do here. I'm hearing some noise and hiss. I better just step on that thing. And I'm finding myself, it's like when you get a headache and sometimes in the morning you think you have a headache and you take an Advil or a Tylenol or something because you think you have a headache because you're just used to doing it. I do that sometimes with that pedal, just thinking, I think I should step on that pedal, so I will. I'm getting very comfortable with the fact it might be coming off soon because my rig is getting whisper quiet. And doing this live talk show, is just as important having whisper quiet as it is for bands, probably even more so, because there's a lot of things in a live environment, with different technologies and the front of house guys and who knows what, turning your amp sideways and all that kind of stuff. You can hide some of that. On the talk show here, when I'm doing things and when there's performances involved, I want, number one, I want neatness, I want convenience, and I want whisper quiet. And I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. So that's we're on that mission to see if we can do away with the noise suppressor. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. You may like your noise gates and your suppressors and things like that. But once you try the PedalSnake and you start to go through some of Jody's noise manuals that he has on his website, there's some really good material there. I'm telling you, if you're on a flight or something, hopefully not United, but if you're on a flight or on a long bus trip or something like that and you want some reading material, download a couple of his noise manuals on PedalSnake.com and read what you can do to isolate problems, to find out where they are and get your rig quieter. That's one reason why I don't have the BBE Sonic Stomp on my board anymore. And people may say, well, Eric, you're a hypocrite. You used to swear by that pedal. I still do. I still swear by the pedal, but with Jody's information that he gave me, trying to isolate and troubleshoot right down to the nitty gritty, where's the trouble coming from? Okay, so go to one pedal. Okay, it's good. Go to the next, turn it on, put it in the loop, put it in the front, whatever. It's got some noise. There's your trouble. That's one of them anyways. The BBE was just one of those pedals that was like the kid in the sandbox playing with all the other kids in the park that was throwing sand in people's face and did not want to play nice. I'm not saying it's like a bad pedal. I love the pedal and I don't want to get rid of it. I may. It's hard to say. It's staying here. Haven't offered to trade it, or I don't want any money for it yet. I'm keeping it. But it's one of those things where that gave me the grief, so I pulled it off. And the rig has been getting quieter and quieter and quieter. Now, when I say the rig, any one of those back there, the Lunchbox 1, 2, or the 100-watt full stack back, the half stack, it's just absolute whisper quiet. It's going to be one of those things where when you try it, you wonder how you actually, live the old-fashioned way with all these cords and wall warts. Number one, it's just a neatness factor, and that's just icing on the cake is the fact that it's neat. The tone and the no coloration to your tone, that's probably one of the most important things Jody and I stress is no coloration to your tone. It doesn't add anything, it doesn't take anything away. It's transparent as transparent can be. It's fantastic. So Howie says he's taking notes. And Adam says you need a bigger chair, Eric. Actually, this one's probably a lot larger than the last one I had, but I just need a bigger studio. Trip Machine says, when I get it, I'd like to build all of my rig on air on your show, Eric. Would be so interesting to see all the changes. Yeah, for sure. And I'd be more than happy to give you some suggestions. Not to say that I'm sure you're going to be off to the races with it, Gustavo. But I'd be more than glad to give you some time-saving tips that have saved me immensely. The more time you can save in a particular project, the better. Then you have more time to enjoy. And here's another thing too. This may sound silly, but I mentioned this on the show, and I mentioned this on my iTunes podcast, one of the last issues. It was an episode I dedicated to talking about getting out of a guitar rut and how little things can get you out of a guitar rut. And it could be little cables, or it could be a new guitar or a new pedal. In this case of the PedalSnake, and we won't even go as far as getting to the pedal board yet. That's awesome. But a guitar cable, or in this case, the PedalSnake, you got a nice, neat rig. Here's another. I like to use examples that in my world how I can describe it to you. Okay, so let's say you and the family go on a family trip. Right, you're gonna go away. And at least this is how it works for me. When I go away, I clean up the car, inside and out. The car looks good on the inside, on the outside. You feel good. You're in a good mood. Just everything's good, right? Maybe your house. You got some friends coming over on the weekend and you go crazy. You're keeping your house clean as it is normally, but you got friends coming over on the weekend. You go extra crazy and everything, clean the ceilings, clean the walls, and you just feel good. It's also that way when it comes to neatness with guitar gear. Getting everything out of the way, off the floor, neatness, and the fact that it sounds good, looks good, it's very inspiring. I've been playing my guitar more in the past week than 2 weeks, I should say, than I have been in forever. Because number one, I've got a very nice rig. Everything's convenient now on the new board, the new PedalSnake. Obviously, just a slightly different version of what I was using before and what I'm using here tonight to show you. It's very, very inspiring. If anyone has any questions as well, too, as I'm rambling, by all means, just mention in the chat. I'd be more than happy to try and answer those for you. And if there's something I can't answer, that's one thing I know you've come to expect from me on the show. I don't proclaim to know everything. I'm not the all-knowing burrito when it comes to EVH, nor PedalSnake, nor anything out there. If I don't know, I will ask the powers that be. And Jody is on call basically for me to answer any questions. If there's some tonight that I can't answer, I'll mark them down. I'll get in touch with Jody overnight, and I'll have an answer overnight guaranteed, and I'll post them on social media tomorrow, and I'll direct the answers directly to you. So I definitely won't lie and say, I think it's this. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out, because I want to know. I want to know as well too. It'll benefit me too. So Howie said taking notes. He's enjoying that. They need the bigger chair, which I agree. Darren Moore says, definitely not as complicated as I thought. I would just have to go through my rig and list out what I need as I go. And there again, Darren, anyone, and I'm going to say this to anyone, anyone that messaged me through the EVH Gear Discussion Facebook page, some of you are personal friends of mine, just PM me through Facebook. Some of you have my email address, info@evhgeardiscussion.com. Send me an email of what you'd like to do, what your goals are with your rig as far as a snake, and what kind of setup you have. And I'll be more than maybe take some of the pressure off of Jody and kind of pre-screen some of the things that you need, and get that to Jody and save some of the back and forth. And okay, so yes, Howie's asking a question: is it an online process to determine the rig needs? If you go to PedalSnake.com, I'm on there right now. This is the answer to you, Howie. Let me see here. I got to find them what actual section it's on. It's a rig questionnaire. Parts info. Here we go. It's probably on. There we go. If you go to PedalSnake.com and you go to help, and then at the bottom of that drop-down menu, it's called your rig questionnaire. Okay, now actually there's it's a broken link there, so I'm going to address that with Jody. There's a missing link there, so I will address that tonight and have him correct that. It's a Word doc basically, and maybe the reason why it's not there, maybe he's uploaded a new one and hadn't changed the link. But it's basically a very simple questionnaire asking you, what you're running through, how many pedals do you have, you're running through the loop, all that kind of stuff. So it's a long story or long answer to your question, Howie. Yes, it's a physical download. You just type it out in your leisure. You can print it off and you could scan it and send it back in if you want, but it's just as easy to type right on it and fire it back off to Jody. But I'll make sure we get that link addressed as well too. So it is a physical document. That's all it is. Pretty simple, really simple. And it's very, very cool. You really learn a lot about your rig just by reading this document. Jody's researched this to death, so he's got everything there. The amount of back and forth time you're going to have with them is going to be minimal because everything's answered almost right up at the forefront. Let me see here. So yeah, Gustavo wants to build it on the show, and I'd love to do that. That'd be great. And Darren said not as complicated as he thought, and I would be more than happy to help you with that. Adam says power conditioners help. I plug everything into one and it's dead silent. Yes, and what I'm having back there right now too is a Furman power conditioner, so everything does run into that. It's a nice kind of in the trenches kind of thing. I still don't swear by the power conditioners, but I wouldn't go without one either. It's just one of those things where maybe it's my security blanket. Everybody else has one, so I have to have one too. And I had been using it for decades, so don't fix what's not broke, right? So I do use that. Let me see here. Guitar Samurai says all-knowing burrito. Yeah. And yes, Adam, this is a good point. Adam has a very good point here. He says, Eric, you got to get that EP booster on 18 volt. It loves juice. And he's talking about the EP booster, which is just next to the Boss DD3. I have that one in the loop, and that can be run at 9 or 18 volt. And I may try that, Adam. I may try that, and I'm not opposed to it. And I do appreciate the fact that it has the headroom, so we'll see what it does. I'll give that a shot for sure. I was talking to Rob Cunningham at Daddario today. We were talking back and forth about some things, and he was saying he didn't like the EP booster in the front of the amp, and he kind of took it out of the it colored it too much, he said. And I said, wait till you try it in the loop. And he's going to be probably going home tonight and trying that in the loop, and I think he's going to like it. Darren Moore says, goals, get rid of all that damn clutter. Yeah, that is exactly it. Get rid of the clutter. I've seen some people's posts on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and things like that. They think they have a neat board, and they're promoting it, saying, look at my board. It's not neat. You're on the right start. You're definitely on the right start. And I'm not just saying it has to be Idea Bench, or it has to be Pedal Train or the Brand X, or I'm not even really familiar with all the boards. It doesn't necessarily have to be all those. The reason why I recommend certain ones is obviously, number one, the support is amazing. I was out of that dual lock material that I told you about, and that's what's fastening all these pedals on that board, and they're on there really well. And I ran out of dual lock. I can't even get it readily available here in Canada. I had it 3 or 4 days later from Rick at Idea Bench. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry you ran out. Here's more." support is amazing. Was talking to Strymon yesterday about just something simple, just something, some questions I had, and they actually I'd sent it through email, and I had a phone call a few minutes later, and I missed a phone call. It was Strymon's technical support, and called them back, and we talked about some stuff, and great. So, and I don't even have to start talking about the support from PedalSnake. That is very, very important today, no matter what price products are. Everything that you're seeing here is priced affordably and competitively, but the support, if it was twice the price, would be worth it, and that's no lie, for sure. Let's see here. Sounds really clean, no noise at all. That's what Trip Machine's saying. And Adam saying power conditioners definitely help. I agree. Yeah, I definitely have it. It's nice to have extra outlets at the back. Plugging your amplifiers in there, plugging in, some people have like samplers and things like that on the stage and extra things on the stage. Having a power conditioner with extra wall outlets are very, very nice, because a lot of clubs you play at these days too, they're very limited. They might run an extension cord over your side of the stage, or you're always short for outlets. So power conditioners give you that few extra as well too. Let me see here. And Darren says, my board is disgusting looking, not the pedals, but the wires and patch cables. That is one of the biggest things. It's the wires that take up a lot, and the patch cables. Now, since how you talked about patch cables, I'll address a couple things here as well too, and I'll try to turn a little bit so we can see a bit more. So you still see some of my George L's cables, and here again too. This is a learning curve for me as well too. The George L's used to sponsor, and I should say endorse, or I used to endorse with the band George L's products years ago. It's still technically on their roster, and I love them for the convenience. I did some videos on there showing you how to make them in the field, basically cut, they're solderless, that kind of thing. For myself here at home, just where the rig doesn't go out of the studio much, if not ever, the George L's are still fine, because they're not going to get that wear and tear, setting up, tearing down, set up and tearing down. The weakest link in any product obviously is the connection, and the set screws can turn a little tiny bit. There's it could just be fractions of millimeters of wires not touching, but that's your weakest link, right? So you're going to see a lot of them are actually changing now to the Planet Waves. You can see some on the bottom there. Those black cables are very, very nice. Very, very heavy duty. They're about 6-inch cables, and I even run those through the bottom of the board. So I go out of a pedal, through the hole in the board, back in through the top, so that there's no extra cords, nice and neat. You see the daisy chains at the top. So this is all going to be replaced by the Planet Waves 6-inch instrument patch cable. So I'm almost there. I still need 5 more and I'm done, and I'll be removing the George L's. I think it's more and more people are saying it's better to go with a soldered connection, and I agree with that. It's your weakest link. So there again, Darren, that will help you tremendously. Get all the same ones if you can do it. I know it's a lot of patch cables you have to buy, and they're not cheap. Here's what they have a hard time justifying the price, and I don't blame you. It's like, between 5 to 15, 20. And if you want to get into the big time cables, it can be $50 for a one patch cable from certain people, and it's hard to justify that. However, are you going to be keeping that pedal board for life? Are you keeping most of those pedals for life? Are you going to be playing for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Then is it a bad investment for something that's going to last you that long? And you do it right, and it will last you that long. I know with these Planet Waves instrument patch cables, I'll never change those. That board's not going to be moved around. They're locked on there with dual lock. Nothing's going anywhere. So that investment right there is as important as buying a guitar, buying a PedalSnake, or even buying this board. It's something I'm not going to do a million times over. I want to do it once. So I hope that helps you a little bit as well too. Let me see here. Frank C says, hey Eric, joining late. No problem, happy to help you. Cutter Savage says, hey everyone, just now joining. And Cutter, thank you for sending me that t-shirt. I know there's a t-shirt on the way. I really appreciate that. Looking forward to getting that and wearing it on the show. Cutter sent me a nice package. It's coming in soon. I'll probably do an unboxing of that sometime in the near future. Adam says he doesn't skimp on cables. Cables are the key. That kind of relates to, we talked about like the noise suppressor, or we have a tuner, or a lot of younger musicians, okay, they're on a budget. Even a lot of us older ones are on a budget too. But okay, so when the option comes up, okay, I need to buy a tuner, especially for the younger ones. That's one of the first ones that, they should have, and they often overlook. And let's say a good tuner, $100 minimum for a good one. It's like, okay, well, for $100, I could buy a distortion pedal or whatever. Why would I want to spend $100 on a tuner? And they'll skimp on that. It's a huge investment for your future. $100 on a tuner is the best $100 you'll ever spend. Same thing with these cables. You can go to the dollar stores and buy cables that, you could buy 10 of them, for a couple bucks, and they're gonna be broke by the weekend. You got to spend good money when it comes to gear to get good stuff. And then also look for companies that have warranties, good warranties, like the Planet Waves lifetime guarantee. Got a problem with it? Save your sales receipt, send it off to them, and you've got a repaired or a replacement. You got to love it. Let me see here. Frank McNeil says, "Poor George L. Love to see the Planet Wave gear you personally use." Certainly, and I probably can't. I can probably pull it out of here right now. These are the first time I've tried these. These were the American Tour series, I think they call them, instrument series. Very, very nice. Rob from Daddario sent me a few of these. I did an unboxing a week or two back. He sent me a whole list of goodies. It was great. Sent me the NYXL strings, which I put first set on my black PV Wolfgang. Love it. But what's really cool about these is the patented tip. It's very hard to see here. But that tip, when you put it in the guitar, it physically snaps, like clicks. A lot of tips on other plugs will make a good connection, but you jump around, it's not going to fall out of the guitar, but it loses that little bit of connection. So it's a tight snap, patented technology. It's one of the things that they've really gone the extra mile. Super, super nice. The impedance of it. Here again, go back and watch the episode with Rob Cunningham. It's a couple episodes back, and he goes into the technical stuff. Like I said, I'm not an engineer, but there's a certain impedance or resistance, whatever, that they aim to strive for. And before it starts to color your tone, it takes away certain highs, certain lows, things like that, or lack of. I love them. The best cables I've ever used. Now, I've been using cables, some of the same cables, for 10, 15 years. And the reason why is because I take care of them. I wrap them. There's a special way to wrap your cables. We can do that in another episode. There's a certain way to do it. And your cables will become trained, and they'll always wrap that way. You're always going to get a little sneer or a snicker from someone in the club looking at you thinking that you're like, whatever. But you're the guy there wrapping up your cords nice and neat. Two things are going to happen with that. Three things are going to happen with that, actually. The first thing is you're going to be the last one out of the club. Okay, well, that's fine. You can handle that. The next thing is it's going to be nice and neat. It's going to be ready for you for the next gig. And when you go to the next gig, when you're hurrying to set up on stage, you don't have to go through this rat's nest of cable. And number three, it's going to last you 10 times longer than if you just abuse it and tied it in a knot. And number one, don't let anyone wrap your guitar cables. Do it yourself. Learn how to do it right. I'm sure most of you know how to do it. But it's funny. Some people don't know how to wrap them properly. And I guess it just comes from me I was a sound man for a lot of years as well, too. By forced into it, actually, because our band didn't have a sound guy in a lot of cases. So I was a sound guy. I learned from some really good people in the industry. And then also just watching people. And it's what you save in terms of like life of products is a great investment. You've doubled your investment, tripled your investment. Let me see here. What else we have for questions here? Yes. So I'm not sure if I said. So Boss TU3 and Cutter saying you're welcome. Thank you very much. Yes. Adam saying Boss TU3 works as a nice buffer too. Yeah. What do I have? The TU2 or 3? I have the 2. I have the TU2. I've had that one for quite some time. Gustavo says, which is Trip Machine, he says, definitely my rig will be much noiseless when I get my PedalSnake. Can't wait for it. Thanks to you, Eric. Contact me with Jody. Yeah, I put him in touch with Jody and told him what he needed, and Jody went through and really got him the right system. Cutter Savage says, I just played a gig and I had to use a cheap cable because my good one shorted out, and you could hear the golf TV channel coming through my amp, just like Spinal Tap. Exactly. Very bad insulation, probably subpar cable, subpar components of wiring. There's a big difference. I love these things, and I joked in my podcast about how a guitar cable can inspire you. It does. It sounds silly. Guitar cables do those Planet Waves, and it's not just a plug for Planet Waves. I'm not endorsing their product. I love their product, not endorsing it whatsoever. I just like it. It's really good. And I'm doing the whole board with it because I like it that much. I'm paying for this stuff. These ones here were free. This was free. This was sent to me from Rob. But these ones here, I went into the local music store yesterday and bought those because I wanted the best. And I figured after trying one of these things, that I want this on a pedal board, only shorter. And what did the Cutter say? He goes, they're talking about the golf channel. I've had that quite a few times as well, too. You're having CB radios and the cab drivers coming through your rig. It's hilarious. Mark Taylor, I want coiled guitar cables to make a comeback. You know what? There's a lot of artists that are still doing that. Very, very cool. There's some people out there like I think Lava makes some really cool ones. Lava also makes like some of the solderless ones too, like the Georgiels and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people doing that, and I remember having some of those for the longest time too. I think they're very, very cool. It's kind of neat to see someone who's more modern, like a modern shredder, use one of those, because then it's like, okay, what's wrong with this picture? You got this shredder, yet he's got this retro cable that we probably all had like as kids, going down to the local Radio Shack or whatever it was. If you didn't have a music store next to you, everyone had a Radio Shack, which is now, I think, the Source, we call them here in Canada. They got bought out by another company. I don't even know if they're still around. But, the local Radio Shack had those spiral cables like the old headphones and that too. And Carlo Santin says, yes, Frank, the TV was on the wall next to me. It was hilarious. Yeah, obviously some very bad insulation. It'll certainly do it. But listen, I'm not going to take up much of your time. I wanted to make this as, I know, people don't like to watch forever, especially when it's a lesson. I don't want this to be like school for you and like, oh man, I got to do homework. All I'm saying is look up PedalSnake. I'm telling you, it would be a blessing to you to get one. It can be as simple or as advanced as you want. Think about it, what you want to do, what you're thinking about doing in the future. Maybe you're thinking about adding some more stuff. Think about all this now. Give us some serious thought of your rig as you see it today and where you'd like it to be tomorrow. Then contact Jody at PedalSnake and say, I heard Eric talking about this PedalSnake, and I'd really like to quiet my rig and neaten my rig and make everything cool. He'll point you in the right direction. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money. I myself would be more than happy to answer any pre-sales questions that I can, just to try to point you in the right direction. And again, I'm not that all-knowing burrito, but I have a good knowledge working with this product. Been working with it for a very long time. I love it. I use it every day. This is not one of those infomercials. This is gospel from my heart, telling you how much I love this stuff. Now, when you want to go from there and talk, if you're ready to, okay, I'm ready to commit. You want to jump into the big boys ballpark. PedalSnake, get a custom snake. Doesn't necessarily even have to be the custom snake, but get a custom snake if you want. Talk to the people, Rick and Joanna at ideabench.com. Look at their pedal boards. They can get them in multiple colors. This one is the biggest one that they make. You can add on to it as well easily with the adapter bracket. And they have many colors, really, really cool stuff. They'll work with you as well for pre-sales questions. And you got to look up the power supplies from Strymon. There's the Ojai, which I'm using in this one, like I mentioned, and then there's also the Zuma, which is a bigger one, depending on your needs. And I watch all of our social media networks, because in the very near future, I'm sure you're going to start seeing this ultimate pedal management. You're going to see that we're going to drive that home until the cows come home, because that's something that we're driving, especially when Jake Morelli gets on board from Ed Sheeran. He's kind of there right now. I think his rig is coming out. We're going to be promoting this, preaching it from the highest mountaintops, how we can make your rigs quieter. And trust me, once you try this, you're going to say, thank you, Eric. And it's here again. I'm not getting anything for this. I'm giving you gospel from me, from a user from over a decade. I know for a fact there's other people I know right now. There's my friend Alan. I won't say his last name just for privacy. He commented on Facebook today, and he's a very seasoned veteran guitar player. I respect him very much. He's a tone freak. He's one of these guys like Eric Johnson that can hear the difference in a 5-foot cable and a 10-foot cable, blah, blah, blah. And he was actually saying, he gave me a nice little compliment. He said, I'm really glad to see you, kind of representing this brand because it's good stuff and whatnot. And that's the thing. I'm not saying it for feathers in my cap and the merit badge. I'm saying it because if I can make one other person's love for guitar a little bit better and neater and improve your tone, then I'm loving it. It's great. That's what I do about this show. It's just trying to, sure, we have discussion with famous guitar players and stuff like that, but it's all about passing on some knowledge. It gets passed on to me. I funnel it off. I could keep all this stuff to myself and be, selfish and say, I'm keeping all the secrets to me. I'm sharing this with you because I want to see you succeed with it. I want to see you inspired to play and have fun with it. So we are at 8:54 here, Eastern Standard Time. I'll check for a few more minutes here and let's have a look. What else have I missed? So Howie says, I use a Lava retro coil as well. Dweezil turned me on to them. Yeah, now that is a person I could see using that for sure. Howie's got some really cool stuff, and obviously with Dweezil Zappa, and Howie's pretty close with Dweezil. And by the way, I have to give some thanks where thanks are due, because I have a very cool, you can't see it back on the wall right now, but a very nice tour poster from Dweezil Zappa, and a guitar pick signed to me, and that was thanks to Howie. So Howie, thank you for that. I know you got to stay with Dweezil for the better part of the week there when he's coming through Montreal. And I know you've had a lot closer relationship with him too. I won't get into that now for that's maybe a story for another day. And I don't have your permission to talk about it, so I won't say that. Darren Moore says, I'd rather learn about this than halogenation reactions in organic chemistry. Yeah, it might be a little bit more fun, unless you're planning on being a pharmacist tomorrow, legal or otherwise. This is probably a little bit more informative, I think. And Cutter Savage says, for real, Darren. Let me see here. Brian says, and this is a good question. Hey, brother, why did Ed quit using a cable and go back to wireless? He was preaching the guitar cable in the past interviews. Tone Chaser, love the show. I'm going to answer my thoughts on Eddie, and I'm going to answer mine as well too, because I've gone from wireless to wired to wireless to back and forth. Obviously there was a convenience factor for Eddie with wireless back in the day, and then he went to cable. Eddie is always tone chasing. And here again, this is not fact because I don't know. Eddie's not here for me to ask him, but this is my thoughts from studying Eddie for my entire life. He's a tone chaser. He's always evolving. Maybe now with the wireless technology he's using, so they say in a lot of cases it's the really good ones that he'd be using. Maybe there's not that much of a difference between the cable. I think I would probably myself, if I was in his shoes, I would probably be using wired. I think it's just an evolution thing. He likes it where it's at. The whole band is using it. He's also using it for in-ears and things like that now, where a lot of times back in the day that wasn't necessarily the case for him. So I think it's just a preference for him. For me, I don't think I'll ever go wireless again. It's a convenience thing. Now I'm using old school Nady wireless. So I mean that's as pretty much as like two Dixie cups with a piece of string between it, like the kids talk outside, like when, as a kid you put the string between cups. That's pretty much what a Nady is like these days. However, I don't think I'll ever go back to it, especially with the quality of cables that are coming out. And I'm going shorter cables as well too, 15 foot as opposed to 20 or 25, 15 foot. So that's my answer on that. It might not be the right answer. And let me see here. So Howie says, my pleasure. I thank you. That's great. And yeah, Adam saying Lucky Bugger loves Zappa. Hoping this is a wink, and you know who I'm winking to. Hoping to have Dweezil on the show here sometime when he's got some free time. Obviously, we know there's a big connection between Dweezil and Eddie, and I think one of the only few people in the world that I've seen play Eruption darn close to Eddie. There's a few, and some of my friends can do it too. But it's a very select few. Dweezil Zappa is definitely probably on the top of that list. Pete Thorne, and then some of the local friends here in the circle as well too. I'd love to see some discussion with Dweezil as well. So we'll see what happens. I have a friend that might be able to help me. And Sean Huddleston, I know Sean was saying he really wanted to see this too because he had some questions on PedalSnake. Didn't really know what it was. Sean, I hopefully think tonight after you watch this replay, I think you'll get the whole concept of what PedalSnake is, why you'd want it, and what it can do for you, and what the benefits are. It's going to, by the time I end this program in about 2 minutes, it's going to be an hour program. Not too bad. You can skip through a lot of the ramblings and get to the good stuff. So I think it'll help you a lot. And Sean, like I said earlier too, which you probably didn't catch, you're a friend of mine on Facebook. Feel free to message me anytime. If I'm busy, I won't be able to get back to you immediately, but I promise everyone that messages me, I will at least respond to you and try to help you with the PedalSnake and pass you on to Jody if there's something that I cannot answer. Mark Taylor, I have a 1986 Nady, still works. And you know what? I think that's probably right around my era too. Mine's a 201 VT or something like that, of that nature. And Adam says Jacob Deraps kills it. Yes, he does. Phenomenal. And him and Josh are coming back on the show end of the month as well too. I had it written down here. What is it? The 20? Do I have it listed here on the 28th? They'll be here on April 28th. So looking forward to that as well. And they're going to be doing some. Actually, Josh is coming over from Australia to Canada. They're going to do some gigging over here in Canada. So that's going to be awesome. And Darren Moore says Eddie probably had one custom made or tweaked for him. That's probably very true. And apparently Eddie showed Dweezil how to play Eruption. Yeah, there was some lessons from Eddie to Dweezil for sure. And Trip Machine, Gustavo says yes, Eddie has a custom one for sure. Sean Huddleston says thumbs up on that for the tutorial. So here we go, guys. And so Jacob joined Dweezil on stage in Quebec City for Eruption and a Zappa tune. It was sweet. I don't think I saw that particular. You know what? Did I see the Eruption version? I think so. I think I saw that on YouTube. It was very, very cool. And Howie was obviously there front row and hanging out with Dweezil and all those guys for the week. That was pretty awesome. Really, really awesome. I hope this was of help to you. I hope you had a good Tuesday night. I wanted to do this tonight because good friends Johnny Bean and Dave Nesdall, they usually do their shows on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I did not want this to interfere with theirs. I wasn't going to go live to do a tutorial if they were doing a show, and I didn't want to interfere with them and things like that, just out of respect to my friends. So I thought, let's do it on a Tuesday night, something you can watch again and again, and maybe send the link to your guitar player friends. It'd be a great idea. Share this video if you could. I'd really appreciate it. Come and join me Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really good friend, return to the show, Chef Brian Sal's joining us. Not your average chef. He's a rock and roll guy, rocks in the kitchen, rocks even harder on the guitar. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be a good discussion. And the lineup is just jam-packed, booking into June and July now. It's nonstop. Greg Renoff from Van Halen Rising is coming. There's so many great people. Robert Baker is finally on the show by popular demand. You fans asked for him. He's coming. Could not be happier. I can't even remember. There's so many people right now on the list. I have to make notes all the time. Go to evhgeardiscussion.com and go to schedule, and you'll see everyone that's coming up. Please jump over to some of the social media and show some love over there. I'd love to get the EVH Gear Discussion Instagram going a little bit more. My personal account's doing great. I should have flipped them the other way around. I should have started the other one first. I want to see some love over on EVH Gear Discussion. I share a lot of cool stuff over there, really cool gear photos and stuff like that as well too. And it's EVH Gear Discussion on Instagram. Let me see here. Jaden James, and unfortunately, Jaden, I'm just ending right now, but this is a really good one. For guitar gear, stuff like that, you want to watch this one back for sure. And Frank McNeil says, don't forget to give yourself a plug for being a great therapist and helping your fans with their bird's eye maple neck OCD issues. Yeah, I was talking to Frank and Joe Suma in a Facebook message and a joint little message to each other. We're talking about some necks and things like that too. So wherever I can help, I'm happy to help. Trust me, I reach out to you guys sometimes with some questions too and say, what's your thoughts on this and things like that. So always here for you. Thank you very much, Adam. Great video, Eric. He says, I really appreciate it. I've lied. I've said I'm 60 minutes. I'm 61 minutes. I want to let you guys get out of here. I've talked too much. I'm really appreciative of you giving me your eyes and ears tonight for a little bit. I hope this was a little bit of information for you that may influence your decision. A few people, PedalSnake.com, IdeaBench.com, Strymon.net. Look them up and hit them up for products, for pre-sales questions. I got to say thanks to Adam Reaver at futone.com, fu-tone.com as well too. Always sending people to Adam. Good guys. All part of the Good Guy Network. Going to turn over to the little man, and he's going to tell us what his name is and what he's playing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you Friday, and I had a great time with you this evening. Probably catch a few of you on Facebook in a little bit. Until next time, cheers. Love ya.
My name is Eric, and I'm playing Wolfgang guitar.
Video production services provided by Design39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.